Hello, everyone. We're here with Lyn again today. Hi, Lyn. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. No, that's bullshit. That's just the programming response. Great, awesome, fabulous. How are you? Love and light. Namaste. No, that's not true. I had a horrible, horrible ascension headache yesterday. I felt like beams of like steel were just crushing my skull, and I felt nauseous several times. I thought I was gonna throw up. It felt like the world was just spinning, and I felt super hot and sweaty, and just but like an accelerated level that I had not felt before. And I had to I had a really long day, and after my day I had to like jump into a Epsom salt bath, hot water, and listen to like 528 hertz healing music, and that's the only thing that helped me. And sleeping, I slept it off, but I felt horrible, so bad. And I'm like, man, it feels worse now. So I'm like, is this gonna like ramp up, or is that like the new thing that it just keeps getting more and more? Because you
That's
would
what
think that we keep getting it, that we'd be like kind of acclimated to it a bit, and it would be like, oh, I can handle this. No, yesterday was bad. I had to take ibuprofen, and like normally I just
comes in
write it out.
waves. I think it comes in waves, and it's just supposed to get stronger and stronger according to a lot of the scientific data out there. We're
Mm-hmm.
going through this really energetic area of space that our solar system has never been through before, and it is highly charged, highly heated, and all the planets and all the moons are just increasing in energy. Some of the like spots on Neptune is 3,000% brighter in just the last 10 years. And it's really interesting that it correlates with how we
Data.
feel that,
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
maybe that's what the ancients were trying to tell us.
Right? Yeah. Have you felt any of that? Any extremes?
Yeah, mine fluctuate like waves. I'll have a good day here and there, and then I'll be down to the count for a whole day, maybe two, and then repeat.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had friends that have to like just nap constantly, like narcolepsy, and then freezing. They're cold. I'm boiling and sweating, but they're cold.
Yeah, I do. I sweat and freeze at the same time. So it's
Oh,
kind of like,
wow. Wow. I've only had the freezing episode once. And then I don't know if you have ever had this, but this weird thing happens to me, and it started about April. Um, I have this weird thing. Have you ever had a migraine?
yes,
Okay, so when you get, some people, when they get a migraine, they get the kaleidoscope vision. Does that happen to you?
I've never had that. No.
Okay, so for me, when I get a migraine, usually I start getting, the indicator for me that I'm getting a migraine is tingling up here in my scalp. My whole scalp will tingle, and then I'll start to go blind. I will see kind of like if you can't see and you look far away. I don't know if you wear glasses or not. I do. But if you're not wearing your glasses, everything looks kind of blurry. Like, you know what's there. You can see color, shapes, but it's not clear. It's very foggy. So that's how it starts. And then you see everything fractalized, like looking through a kaleidoscope. And that's what they call it, kaleidoscope vision. So then when I get the kaleidoscope vision, I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to get a migraine. So I know that's my indicator, because that always happens to me before I get a migraine. And then it lasts like for the whole day. Sometimes 3 days it would last. But anyway, I don't get migraines anymore. But now I started getting that feeling of the tingly, and then my vision starting to go, but then it would stop and it wouldn't go, and it wouldn't be kaleidoscope vision, but I would start seeing sacred geometry shapes. Okay,
Wow.
they're white and they glow, kind of like my shirt, and it would only be in one eye. So it would be in this eye, and then when it started in April, it was with my eyes closed. So I saw it right here, but it was white and glowy, and I was just staring at it, kind of like when you're gonna meditate and you close your eyes and all you see is dark. But then I started seeing these shapes, and I opened my eyes to see if I would see them still, but they were gone. I could only see them if I closed my eyes. So I closed my eyes and I just enjoyed the show. It was like 10 minutes.
That's so
Right
cool.
here. Okay. So then from April, that was the first time, from April, it progressed to this eye out during the day. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Because it was like, it started off little, then it grew big, then it grew bigger, then it was bigger than me. And it's like in front of me. And I'm asking the kids, like, can you see this? And they're like, no, you're crazy. And I'm seeing it. And it looks like, I can't even describe it because I don't know what it is, but it was like a series of like triangle shapes in different areas put together, like snowflakes and spiraling like the Fibonacci sequence. And I was like, what the frick is that? But I was just like, wow, it looks cool. I don't know what it is. And it stayed there for 45 minutes, that big vision in this eye. Then I was eating dinner the next time it happened, and it happened in this eye. And it grew, it was little, and it grew bigger and bigger, but it only stayed about this big. And then it alternated. So like every few weeks, I would get it in the other eye the next time, and then the other eye, and then the other eye. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? What is that? Because I don't feel different. I don't feel like I have heightened anything. Like I still feel nuts. I'm still getting divorced. I'm still, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, everything seems the same.
Huh, so, that's got to mean something. You got to look
right?
that up.
Yeah, it feels like some kind of download, some kind of computer, or I don't know, alteration, something.
I would have to look up the shapes and look up and figure out.
Well, I don't, if you've never seen this design, because it was so intricate and so huge, you can't look it up because you don't know what you saw. And it was in movement. It wasn't frozen. It was in motion. So I don't even know what it was. I was just enjoying it and admiring it. And then my kids, like, they're so used to this happening to me now that they're like, oh, are you getting a vision? Because I just keep staring.
Just scroll through shapes and see if you can find something.
Yeah, it just looked like a series of different shapes of triangles and like Merkaba shapes, things like that. But I didn't know what it was. And I'm like, oh, cool, something's happening. Like it's not, I don't feel pain. It feels like you can't move and you can't control it. So I would practice closing my eyes and then opening my eyes, and I could still see it both ways.
Wow.
That was awesome. Really interesting. So it hasn't happened to me lately. The last time it happened to me was about 2 weeks ago. So it hasn't happened as of yet, but at any moment, I hope it doesn't happen to me when I'm driving, because that would be scary. Because it's like broad daylight, and it's just weird. Because I mean, it's cool, it's interesting, but I don't know what it is. And
yeah, nothing cool like that happens to me. So
well, not yet. Give it a minute. Give it a minute. Did you get that the alert, the emergency alert that everybody's talking about?
I did. Me and my kids got it.
I did not get it. I was on the phone talking. My GPS location thingy was on. Didn't get it. I was talking to a friend. I could hear her get it. I was at Costco at the time, and like over the loudspeakers, everybody got it. Everybody around me was getting it, but I didn't get it. And I'm like, what the heck? Why didn't I get it? That was just weird to me, because I felt like, that's odd. It was just odd. Not that I want it, but I'm just wondering why, you know? And then that whole thing, it's just, everything's just very freaking weird. And like, what planet am I on? Like him giving that, like Trump giving that emergency preparedness month address saying have supplies for 2 weeks under the guise of hurricane season. I think it's bigger than that. And then in the alert that my daughter got, she got it on her phone. We have the same phone plan. So why did she get something and I didn't? She had her phone turned off because she was at school. She says that on her alert, she got, the presidential alert is designed to let the White House inform the entire country almost instantly of grave public emergencies, such as a terrorist attack or an invasion, weird, according to the Federal Emergency Management Agency. And while Americans can choose not to receive weather and amber alerts, they cannot opt out of presidential ones. Bullshit. Apparently I did. And I don't even know how. And then I'm reading articles where other people didn't get it either. And they're like, why didn't I get it? So
yeah, a lot of people didn't get it. So it's not just you. So
I'm one of the chosen. I'm one of the chosen that didn't get the alert.
Yeah.
And then I'm wondering, like, why the word invasion really stuck out to me. And with all this talk of him wanting the Americans to like agree to build a space army, which sounds so retarded. And like, what, more money out of our pocket for stuff that already probably exists? Because let's face it, come on, you know they already have that shit.
Oh, I know.
And then, right? And then it's like, why are you getting everybody riled up? It feels like something's gonna happen. And they're like, kind of like 9/11, how like they plant the seed and then people are like, nope, I'm not voting for that. And then, whoa, 9/11 happens, everybody's voting for it, you know? And it's like, what are you trying to make us, what bandwagon are you trying to get everybody on? And then, like, is it distraction? Is it fear? You hear about these mass arrests that are imminent. Supposedly that shit's been imminent for so freaking long, just like the event. It's like, oh, they moved the timeline. They pushed the timeline. What? I'm like, whatever. Because it's like, you can't pin your hopes on anything, you know? Because it gets you all excited, and then you're just like, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, I've given up expecting it to happen in my lifetime. I always miss everything good. So I figure I'm just going to die when I'm 80 and my kids are going to think I was just crazy the whole time.
I've often wondered that myself. Like, is this like a thing? Is this not a thing? And then I'm like, well, that could be their agenda too, to get us to doubt, you know? I don't know. I'm like, well, whatever. What have I got to lose? If it happens, awesome. If it doesn't, awesome.
I saw Corey Good say something that was really interesting the other day that kind of stuck out to me that I hadn't really considered before. They say that we are so powerful that we can create our own realities by what we focus on. And that's why they are so negative and have us against each other to distract us. But he said that they do that with the weather too. And, you know, natural disasters, like they'll plant the seeds in these movies. And I didn't even realize this, but a lot of these major movies are funded by the Department of Defense. You can legitimately see it on the back of the DVD.
Wow.
And that blew me away. And he said that they will plant these seeds in your subconscious and then like talk about it on the news, like these earthquakes, you know, the great quake in California.
And then they keep looping the same old tired story.
Right, and that it's us that's actually creating it because we're focusing on it without knowing how powerful we are. And I thought that was really interesting.
Ooh, or what about, have you seen on YouTube those videos where they show you how they subliminally programmed us for 9/11, like since the 70s, where they show the Twin Towers and like Cookie Monster breaking them apart, and like just like they show a series of pictures, and then also on the $20 bill, if you fold it a certain way, you see 9/11, you see the Twin Towers burning, and then on the new $100 bill, I think it is, they show New York with a tsunami. Leave New York alone. Poor New York. I'm like, why you gotta be New York all the time?
Yeah, if anyone needs a tsunami, it's probably Washington, D.C.
That's
all. Put it back and get all the innocent people first, though. Let's seriously clean out the swamp.
Right. Yeah. So I just thought that was super interesting. Like, like super programming everywhere. Once you know the recipe, it's kind of like easier to spot, like Sandy Hook and all that crap. You're like, oh, that's what you want us to think. That's what you want us to,
Yeah, Aluna Ash predicted that stabbing that happened at the daycare. She didn't specifically say it was a daycare, but she just like a day before it happened, she said it was going to be a false
flag
stabbing.
And what is it? Because I don't watch the news.
Some lady went through a daycare in New York and stabbed a bunch of people, including some infants.
What?
Yeah, and I only know it because of her, because I don't watch the news either. Yeah. But I found it very interesting that she had predicted it just the day before it happened. That something.
And was it a false flag?
Well, there are real victims, but she thinks that it's
staged,
manufactured. They're real victims. And the woman who did it claimed she mistook the people for wolves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, see, what's to say they didn't inject her with something and then let her loose? I mean,
who knows? But
wow. Yeah. See,
a lot of people discount the false flag idea because they're real victims, but it doesn't mean that somebody wasn't put up to it. Because I've seen some pretty interesting videos where they show the same people playing different roles in the Sandy Hook.
Right. Yes, I saw that too.
Stage actors, and I'm like,
right.
Oh my God.
Right. Yeah, there's key people. Well, kind of like that whole theory of the devil mixes truth with lies.
Yeah.
You're gonna have some people that have no clue. You know what it reminds me of? Did you ever see that movie Borat?
No.
Well, Borat, it's hilarious. It's stupid, but it's funny. So Borat is basically about this guy from Kazakhstan, so a third world country, and he's filming a documentary for his country to learn from the U.S. how to solve their economic issues, social issues, whatever. So it's like this third world guy in the way he perceives things, the way he culturally does things, and he's coming to New York City and to California, to Texas, to talk to officials and say, well, in my country we do this. What do you guys do here? And they're learning from each other. But the movie's funny because it's a spoof. It's not real, but they make it look like a documentary. But I was wondering, okay, to get those reactions from, because you see him walking through New York City, through public streets, and he's like taking a dump in Central Park, and everybody's like horrified looking at him. Well, I would think to get that reaction, some people would have to not know what was going on, right? To get that authentic reaction, right? Because you need horror on the face. I don't think like an actor would do it justice all the way. Like there has to be a mix of innocence and actors to get that perfect, wow factor, the freak out factor. And that's what makes the movie funny, because you feel embarrassed for him because you're seeing the reactions, because without the reactions it wouldn't be that funny. So I feel like that's kind of like those false flag events. Like you can't, to make it believable, you got to have some people that don't know what's going on.
Yeah, right? and real victims.
Because that'll sell it. That will sell it. Yeah, that seals the deal. Because if it's all
hard to get my mind around, though.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And it's like, is that even real? Like, that's been my whole thing since I woke up. What's real? Because what's real is changing constantly for me.
Yeah, we're supposed to get our mind out of the way and just go with what we feel, but that's really hard.
Well, really because we're under layers and layers of programming.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So also I had seen this thing that I wanted that gave me hope and sunshine, which is probably bullshit too, but I just wanted to share it. I saw this thing on Facebook. It was a little meme or blurb on Venus retrograde. So Venus retrograde starts like now, I think tomorrow actually, October 5th. and it goes till November 16th. It says, situations you thought would never change will shift. Chains you thought would never break will be dissolved. It feels like a bird cage with the door wide open. God, please, yes.
That would be really nice.
Right? But then on the flip side, like we were talking beforehand, and I was saying like, whoa, that like really matches my life right now because I'm going through the divorce, and I've wanted this for so many years. And now that it's here, it's like, scary. So scary.
It is scary for sure.
And it's what I wanted. And it's what I want. So why is it scary? That's what's like, that's the battle of the old and the new, old and the new, old and the new for everything, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like doing QHHT versus going to an office every day. It's like a battle, a battle.
Scary.
You're crazy.
Yeah.
You're crazy. This is never going to work. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The old versus
I don't
the
know.
new.
It would be nice. It would be nice. But it seems like they're always saying things like that, you know? 1 month, you're supposed to.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you're always on hold for the next month, right?
And the next month, everything's supposed to be better, but it's just the same old crap. So I don't really know.
No, now you're saying with the solar storms and all that, it's going to get more intense.
Well, you know, David Wilcock presents some really fascinating and convincing science, and it's it's NASA data, so it cannot be disputed. Just NASA doesn't put it all together like he does. It's like breadcrumbs around the internet. He's put it all together into a big picture. And the government's recently moved their CIA headquarters into the middle of the United States. I believe I don't even know what state, but they moved.
How interesting. So if a tsunami does hit, or the Edgar Cayce map, you ever seen the Edgar Cayce map? It looks like the letter W with both coasts missing.
Yeah, and that's what's supposed to happen if the event occurs. The event is supposed to be this huge solar flash.
Oh, the polar shift?
Alters the poles. Yeah.
Interesting. And then them moving, that's a big deal for them to move that.
That's
not nothing.
Deal. And I don't know if you have heard of Secure Team 10 on YouTube. They've got over 1 million subscribers, and he does videos almost every day on just weird things, UFOs, and and he gets a lot of, it's very interesting because he'll get UFO sightings, but he'll get multiple people from the same city who send in footage from all different directions, which really adds validity to a lot of the things that he presents. But there's this chronic noise and booms and underground noises and things happening all over that can't really be explained, and he thinks that they're all just going underground trying to prepare for this thing that's
what I was going to say. I think it's us, it's them, well, not us, but them preparing, scrambling. You know how they say the dark is scrambling.
Yeah, that's what they say. And supposedly that's what this presidential alert is preparing us for, because we're getting closer and closer to that sort of thing happening, although nobody can really tell when it's going to happen for sure. But definitely the universe.
That's compelling evidence.
The universe is charging up too. You cannot deny that. And so every time I start to doubt, I go back to that. I mean, that's NASA data, NASA scientists putting this stuff out there.
Right.
And
too many things match. Too many things match up.
Yeah, from too many different sources.
Right.
Texts and
and even sources that oppose each other are saying the same thing in different ways.
Are you familiar with Robert Monroe and the Monroe Institute?
I've heard you talk about it.
Yeah, I've really gotten interested in that again. I think it was too early in my awakening to really take it all in at first, but I kind of got led back to that just recently. And it was, it's really interesting. You can log into the Monroe Institute and create a free account and access their free audio. And they have probably like 30 something recordings. It was all done on cassette back then. That's how old it was. They tell you to pause and turn over the tape in the middle of them, but He explored consciousness. Basically, he was a radio broadcaster who wanted to branch into something new. He was very successful, had a lot of money, and he decided to try to train people to learn while they slept, like subliminal messages.
Wow.
He was the guinea pig in his lab, so he started just experimenting with things. They created basically binaural beats, which they call hemisync.
Wow.
Where they put one tone in one ear and a slightly different one in the other ear, and it creates a field of resonance right in the middle of your brain that you actually hear a wavering, even though the tones are solid tones. And through experimentation, he started having out-of-body experiences and thought he was going crazy. But after convincing himself he wasn't going crazy, he ended up writing a few books, and then he just launched into exploring consciousness.
Wow.
And he created this whole program, which I actually have, where it's like step-by-step meditation guide allowing you to get into these deep levels of consciousness.
Wow.
But some of his subjects that he's called explorers really tapped into intelligences that are saying the same thing as far back as in the 80s.
And what are they saying?
Just same information as the law of one. You know, that we are undergoing a consciousness shift on the earth, and they talk about how thought forms create like an actual layer that if you could see them, you could see them surrounding the earth. And that people are trapped in these things like capsules, and it's really, really fascinating.
How do you free yourself from that?
By quieting the mind, meditating, trying to keep your logical mind out of it. Go with what, you know, try to tap into the knowing. Like I have, like, and that's what's going on with me. My logical mind and my knowing are still in an argument as to whether I'm going crazy. And they talk about it very, very clearly in these videos and in these recordings. And they even go into the different levels of consciousness and the planes of existence. And he even has a map of some of the different levels. And it's really fascinating.
Wow,
really
that sounds super cool. Because that's more evidence.
Yeah, if anyone's on the fence, and because listening to it makes me feel good, because it reassures me that I'm not crazy, because it really resonates with me. And it's just more of what everybody else is saying, and now what the science is also saying.
So then it's like, if also, whether it's the Monroe Institute or anything else, I think the more that we, and it feels like that's another huge thing that we tend to do when we're waking up, is you submerge yourself completely in all things spiritual, because you feel so thirsty, like a sponge. You're like, oh my God, more in this video and that video, and you're teaching yourself. It's like we're training ourselves, and that helps you be in that 4D, 5D, whatever you want to call it, other world, not in the matrix. That helps you like venture out of it and travel in your mind, kind of like when you were a kid and you'd read a book and like you're suddenly not bored anymore. You're on an adventure with Huck Finn or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like same thing with the spiritual stuff. So that's pretty cool. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm on a mission to convince myself I'm not crazy.
Well, you're not crazy, because all of us are feeling the same thing. We're all like, we're weaning ourselves from the old life. I'm reading the Sophia Code by Kaya Ra. She changed her name. She's a woman that was a victim of the sex trafficking as a little girl. Her parents took her to sex parties involving politicals. She said people from the music industry, law enforcement, doctors, like citizens that were wealthy and had huge stakes in the community across the Eastern Board were participating in these sex rituals with children, because they said it was the fountain of youth. If they would do these rituals with children, against the children's will, of course, they became super wealthy. They became very powerful, and they ruled. They're the ruling elite. And I mean, that's what's hinted at in everything coming out with Pizzagate and all that stuff with the Clintons and all that crap. So, I mean, this exists. It's a thing. People do it.
It totally exists. I mean, sex trafficking clearly
Yeah.
exists. And
Yeah,
so
everywhere. Doesn't matter where you live. It's not only the East Coast. It's here too. Look at where all those little girls that they keep showing that now they're when they catch an illegal immigrant from Mexico or wherever, South America, in Arizona, that they arrest the parents, but then they arrest the kids. What the fuck? They're kids. And they have them in camps. So the kids are in a kid jail, boys only, and then where are the girls? They never show the girls. What happened to the girls? And they have all these underground tunnels that were discovered in the Arizona desert, where there's these volunteers that volunteer to walk the desert and search for illegal immigrants, because a lot of them die. They dehydrate, or the sun beats them down, or they starve, or they get eaten by coyotes, and they go out there to see if anybody needs help. And they have found tunnels leading from Tucson all the way to Mexico, and they've reported them. Or even militia, you know how they have the guys that come from Alabama and stuff to secure the border on their own, and they make their own little militias, and they come and they patrol the desert. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but that's what they do here. They're Minutemen, they call themselves, and they're their own militia. So they come out here with their own weapons, and they camp out, and they're looking for illegal immigrants, and then they call Border Patrol. So what happens is these militia guys and these volunteer groups have both found these tunnels. They've reported it to officials, okay, federal officials, because that's what runs Border Patrol. That's Fed. And do you know what happened? Nothing.
I believe that.
There's places, there's little cells in those tunnels, little handcuffs. Why do you need little handcuffs? And it's just weird. It's like, it makes you think something's going on. Like, what's going on here? Like, it's part of the trafficking thing. What the heck? Are you in cahoots with this? Like, what's going on? And,
yeah,
and they won't talk about it. Nobody talks about it.
Well, David Paulides has written a bunch of books on that sort of thing and people missing from all the national parks. It's called Missing 411.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a series of books, and there's definitely some strange stuff going on. Thousands upon thousands of people have gone missing. He's actually a retired police officer, mm-hmm. and he turned into a researcher, and he was approached secretly by some park rangers. They tracked him down. They knew who he was. He had seen these people following him around earlier while he was at a national park. Mm-hmm. And they ended up finding where he was staying, coming to his room, and they wanted him to look into a lot of the missing people at the park that they were at. And he has given many interviews online, and he talks about how he was just given the runaround by authorities. Wow. They claim they don't even have a list of people who are missing. They wanted to charge him like $30-something thousand to just compile a list of the people that are missing.
That's ridiculous.
Thousands upon thousands of people missing from these parks, and nobody's doing anything about it. And he's identified some really interesting trends in the people who've gone missing, mm-hmm. like really intelligent people, like scientists and
Whoa.
doctors and that kind of thing. And it's really scary.
Wow.
But interesting. And yeah.
That's fascinating. See, just so much weird crap is going on. And like, what are they doing with them? Is that like part of the whole cloning thing? Do they come back as clones? What?
Well, Corey Good and David Wilcock talk about it a little bit and say that, that's the parks were actually created around where all of these underground tunnels and things existed to protect what's going on down there.
Right.
And that there are they claim that there are alien and other dimensional beings that live underground on this planet.
That's probably the dark ruling, the ones that are really ruling, running the country.
I certainly think they have an influence in some way. You
Yeah.
know,
Are they referring to the reptilians?
that's what they say. They say that
Mhm.
they are
Yeah.
reptilians,
Yeah.
which is just crazy and mind-boggling. But
Right.
there's
Yeah.
something going on. All
You
these people
know,
are listening, and he's getting the runaround for sure. So
oh,
what's
something,
that about? You know,
right.
what is that?
And that reminds me of, because like when I got attacked that time by ETs, whatever the fuck that was, I, at the time I haven't crossed the veil yet. I can see some stuff, but I can't control what I see. So I feel like I'm still growing. So I was only able to sense them. I could sense their mass, how tall they were, how wide, how big, um, and that they were male, but I couldn't see them. My son, when he was 3, could see them. And when he was little, and they say if you're like a light warrior, they know who you are before you know who you are. They start attacking when you're little. And my whole growing up, I would get attacked in my sleep, and I would wake up falling off my bunk bed, bleeding from biting my tongue, falling. And my son, uh, same thing. He would have night terrors that he would think were dreams, but no, he saw it because he would tell me. He would come wake me up in the middle of the night. He was 3, and he would be crying, and I would say, "What's wrong?" And he would say, "I can't sleep. I'm scared." And then in his baby talk, the best way he could explain it at 3, and I would say, "Why are you scared?" And he would say, the frog man won't let me sleep. He keeps staring at me, and he won't leave me alone. And his red eyes are scary. So I would let him sleep with me, but then I'm like, what the heck is he talking about? And he always talked about this frog man. He said there was a little brown frog looking thing with big red eyes, and then there was this huge, tall, Chewbacca looking thing.
Wow.
They were standing there, and that they were there for him, and that they were like waiting for him. They would like mess with him, and he would freak out. Like his whole from 3 to 6, he couldn't sleep. And then it just went away.
So how can you tell that it's dark versus light? Because according to Dolores Cannon, they're actually helping. People are just petrified. Could you
What do you mean?
sense
What does she mean helping?
that? She claims that ETs, when they come and visit people or take people, that they're actually just taking care of their people. They're giving them upgrades or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Could you sense negativity, or were you just afraid because you didn't know
No,
what's
well,
going
with me, I they would harass me. If it was my galactic family, I don't think they'd be harassing me. I would think they would be helping me. They'd be giving me information. I would feel good. See, that's what messed with my mind, that I wasn't scared. So I thought, oh, they're benevolent. They're not evil. They must be good because I'm not scared. Because we've been trained to think that scary equals bad. That's not true. Kind of like a pedophile. Anybody could be a pedophile. A gorgeous, handsome, successful man can be a pedophile. He doesn't have to be fat, old, and ugly. You know what I'm saying? Look at these teachers molesting kids. They're freaking gorgeous. Beautiful women molesting 13-year-old boys. What the hell's wrong with you? So do you see what I mean? Like we've been trained to think one way, but that's not true. And I remember growing up, my mom would say, the devil is beautiful. The devil, to entice you, to tempt you, will come to you as an angel and get you to do what he wants. Because he's not going to scare you. He wants you to do what he wants. So he's going to like come at you really sweet and sugary and syrupy and get you to do what he wants. So that always stuck out in my mind, but I wasn't scared. So until they started hitting me and pinching me and like hurting me, then I'm like, okay, wait a minute, this can't be good because it hurts. And I'm asking them to stop, and they're not. So if they're for me, why are they doing that? See what I mean?
Well, according to Dolores Cannon, it didn't come out until people were put under hypnosis, but they actually are helping you, even though it doesn't seem like it, even though it does hurt.
I don't know about that, because the worst it got for me, I was paralyzed and they were drilling in my brain. So I was so scared, and the only I got it to go away by praying. I prayed and it immediately stopped. So see, like, why would it go away if I'm praying? See,
well, according to her, there are no negative ones.
Yeah, no, see, and that's a thing that I have a problem with her. I remember in class, she said that she has volumes upon volumes of like cases and boxes and so much information that she collected that will never be published because we're not ready. And she refused to talk about dark energy. She would flat out refuse, and she would not entertain the conversation. And I always found that really annoying. And I love me some Dolores, but that was annoying to me because I feel like, no, don't crack the door just this much and then not say anything. Like, tell it. Come on. You have an obligation, like, to us. Like, what is it? Spill it. So I feel like kind of part of her didn't want to probably bring down hell on her family and be a targeted individual. She didn't want to put herself under that. And I felt like that's why she chose to keep a lot of stuff private and secret, and she would not even entertain. She would just give you a tiny little crumb and then run away. Like she talked about HIV. She talked about germ warfare. She said the government created HIV, that it was germ warfare. She talked about stuff like that. And then she'd be quiet and wouldn't talk about it. And I'm like, tell us everything.
I would love to know. Oh my God.
Right? So I'm like, come on. Okay, so then you do know that there is a dark agenda, but you're just not talking about it. Because the fact that you're referring to HIV, and she mentioned other things, it wasn't just HIV. She mentioned when you get shots, immunizations are bad. She would just mention little crumbs, and then she'd just stop and okay, I can't talk about this.
Yeah.
So come on. And if we live in a dualistic world universe, obviously there has to be dark if there's light. It has to be. And I mean, we've lived it. We've seen it. Our lives have been both, right? Yin and yang.
Sure. Absolutely.
So that doesn't, I think her not talking about it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I think she is probably coming at it old school, and like a lot of the spiritual community thinks, oh, if you don't talk about the dark, you won't manifest it. That's fucking ridiculous to me, because I feel like if you grew up the way we grew up, whether you talk about it or not, it's happening. That didn't stop our abuse. We didn't talk about it, but it was still happening, right? We didn't bring that in. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
don't
think
know.
stuff exists, and just, I feel like you make it get stronger by not shining your light on it, because then they can get away with murder. Like, then the pedophile doesn't have to pay. Then the rapist doesn't have to pay because she's scared. Yeah, I scared her. She's not going to say anything, you know? Or like the guy that beat you up. If you don't say anything, he's not going to jail, and he gets away scot-free. And that's happened to me. The cops have come to my door, and I was too scared to say anything, and I didn't say anything, even though they could clearly see I got my ass beat. And they, okay, good night, leave. Come on. I've known neighbors of mine that have gotten their ass beat, and like, they don't do anything. They're like, oh, okay, good night, bye. And I'm like, what the heck? You can totally tell. You don't have to go to any kind of school or training to see what happened, right?
I guess if you're not willing to talk, they're done.
Right. Well, yeah. See, you have to be at a space where you're willing to talk. So see, for me, I feel like, no, we're going to freaking label everything, and I'm going to shine the light on it because that's bullshit. No. Like, I've been quiet for too long. I'm not going to, it's kind of like for me, for instance, in the Mexican culture, in this town in the middle of nowhere that's on the border of Mexico, it's like that culture, and I'm not saying everywhere, but here in my experience, this is how it is here. It's not like that everywhere, but here they're so programmed to look the other way. Be submissive to your husband, look the other way. Just maintain appearances, to keep the peace, to keep the marriage, to keep everything copacetic, and don't make any waves, and don't complain, and you know, just say yes, whatever your husband wants. Oh, fuck that, no. I'm not having a marriage like this. No, absolutely freaking not. Like, if I wasn't gonna sit there and let a cop get killed, I sure as hell ain't gonna sit here and like let you act like you're on spring break and I'm wearing this ring and acting like I'm married, but you're not. No, absolutely not. Like, no. I see what you get out of it, but what the hell do I get out of it? No. So I feel like it's like when you have to get mad enough and then say, fuck this. No. I'm not standing for that anymore. Like, I'm going to be my own advocate, whether that's with abuse, cheating, whatever. And I mean, abuse can come in so many different shades. You don't have to get hit to be abused. You can have some really fucked up words said at you, and that will just rip your self-esteem to shreds. And you don't have to be an adult, right? Yo, absolutely. Because those are the scars that don't show, and they're there forever until you go in and do the work and start healing them.
That's true. Very true. And you don't even know how badly they affect you when you're asleep.
Oh no. Yeah, you think like, oh, I'm fine. Walk it off.
Yeah. That's what, and I feel sorry for men because they have it worse if they were abused, because you know, they're not supposed to show emotion. They're supposed to be macho, and you know, they've bottled it up more than we have in a lot of cases.
Right.
I think.
Yeah, that's true. And even as comfortable as you try to make them now to talk about it, they're so scared
And programmed, you know, that it's like they can't go there because it means they're weak in their mind.
Right. Yeah. Emotions equal weakness. Yeah. Like if somebody cries, oh, you're weak. Because I've even felt weak when I cry. When I get angry, I start crying, and I hate that I cry because I feel.
I do too. I hate it too.
Yeah. I want to be like, oh, Hulk. And I feel like I failed somehow because I'm crying. But no, that's what
they want you to think, you know, that's what they want you to think, because then you stay, you know, weighted down and distracted and stuck in your thought loops.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, totally. Yep. What do you think about the whole dark versus light? Or do you think it's just choices? Because there's two schools of thought with that. Is it the dark versus the light, or is it choices in every moment? Because I myself, I guess it's just words, labels, because I myself have had opportunities to be a jerk, and I'm like, I stop myself and I'm like, nope, I'm not going to react like that. And I make a different choice. So like I U-turn and decide not to be a jerk and just either don't respond or just like really think of what I'm going to say before I say it, which the old me would have just popped off and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, well, that's how most of the world is. They're reacting to emotions.
Yeah.
I think it's both, really. I think there is light and dark, and then choices. I think the light comes in, and illuminates the dark and allows you to step back and then make choices based on what you see. Instead of immediately reacting, you learn to just take a breath in between and realize you've been a robot your whole life.
Yeah.
And it's a conscious choice to not do that anymore, but eventually it becomes who you are if you do it enough.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I think.
Have you ever heard of, now I'm forgetting his name. Starts with a P. Was it Plato? Plato's Allegory? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I skipped school during all that, so I don't know.
It's a philosopher. I know you guys out there know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it's a little like short story to illustrate how our perception is skewed. So I think it's Plato. Oh, I can't remember his name. It starts with a P. Anyway, it's something allegory. And he shows, there's a scene where it's prisoners and they're tied, they're chained to the ground. So they can only look one way. So say they can only look left. So they're all facing left. They're looking at a wall and there's a fire. So the fire illuminates shadows. So behind them, they don't know, behind them is like a window and the public is walking by and they're holding, it's like a village market or something, and they're carrying like things like a big rug or a big lamp or whatever. They're just walking, or people walking. But like when you stand in front of the sun and you cast a shadow, your shadow is super huge and long, right? Even if you're a child, a small woman, or a big man, like your shadow is projected and it looks bigger than it really is, right? So in that, he shows the prisoners are freaking out because they're seeing all these scary shadows, and they're really scared, and they think it's monsters, and they think they're in hell. Their assumption is, oh, I must be in hell because look at all the monsters that are surrounding me. So in their mind, they've already decided they're in hell. So then there's another scene, and I'm probably butchering this because I'm going off of memory. And with Ascension and memory, they don't mix. So there's another scene where he shows the other perspective. He unchains them and he lets them look up, stand up. Look at what you were looking at. Oh, it's a bright, beautiful, sunny day. And people are in the market buying apples and oranges, and they're carrying rugs, and they bought stuff. And you're seeing them carry their goods home, and they're happy. And you thought you were in hell because you thought there were monsters there coming to get you. But look at what it really is. So you see how your mind messes with you?
It is Plato. It's the allegory of the cave.
Ah, cool. I'm not completely gone. There's some logic left.
It's pretty cool. They even have a diagram from his writings.
Yeah, but do you see how it shows?
He's telling us the same thing that everyone else is telling us. So he was an enlightened soul, giving us the same information.
Right. And see how interesting that it's your perception. So I think it's like we're all being called to look at what you think it is, because it doesn't have to be that. The law of the universe, if one thing exists, then the opposite has to exist, right? So then why can't it be awesome? Like, what timeline do you want to be on? You want to be on the shitty one, or you want to be on the good one? I want to be on the good one.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I want to train myself. I want to train myself to be on the good one.
Yeah, I'm ready for the good one. Supposedly you can jump timelines. You can meditate and learn to jump timelines. So that's on my agenda of things to do.
Okay, so how does that fit in with this whole karma crap? How we're ending karma and you have to finish karma, because supposedly that's happening right now. Karmic relationships are ending, they're dissolving, and the more you resist the ending, the more you're going to suffer. So I'm just really trying to just let it go. And even in astrology, any Sun Saturn connection is karmic. So if you want to look at a natal chart between you and somebody, whether that's your kid, a teacher, a coworker, anybody, if there's any Sun Saturn, so you can look at either your natal chart and theirs, and if there's any Sun Saturn connection anywhere, that will tell you. Or you can look at the chart for when you met, your relationship, like when you met them or when you got married, or because everything has a natal chart, right? Because everything has a beginning and an end, right? So you can look up a chart and see, is there any Sun Saturn connections? Because Saturn is karma. It's the Lord of karma. And I happen to look on mine with him, of course, his Saturn is on my sun. And in our marriage chart, the Sun and Saturn are right next to each other. So I'm like, ugh, of course.
Yeah, well, he was your catalyst to waking up, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, he was the rocket fuel, because honestly, I would have been too lazy. I wouldn't have woken up.
We wouldn't have even known that we were being lazy or asleep. When you're asleep, you're asleep. You just don't know what you don't
That's
know.
true.
You know?
That's true. Yeah.
You have, and they explained it in the Monroe tapes very well too. That all of these things we go through, death and destruction of relationships, they are all specifically to propel us into waking up. You know?
Wow. And that
Yeah.
was those other beings' information?
Yes.
Wow.
Go into some major physics, which blows my mind. There's a one guy who is an explorer who contacts somebody, and he's viewing the earth like there are things outside of the earth that are orbiting the earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in the future,
Mm-hmm.
where the earth is part of like a battery, and it generates, using the magnetic fields, generates power for the
Mm-hmm.
whole earth. Like it's a very advanced form of supplying power to the world.
Oh. Well, don't they say that we're going to lose our sun? I've heard that other places too, that they've said, oh, something's going to happen with the sun, something's going to happen with the moon.
I haven't heard that we're going to lose it, but I've heard that it's going to go through an evolution,
Change.
like coronal mass ejection, and that's what's going
Yikes.
that's going to be our solar flash.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm like, TikTok, let's go.
Off the coast, apparently I need to get 700 miles away from the coast.
Yeah, but like that Edgar Casey stuff was supposed to happen a long time ago.
That's what
And
I'm
it's
saying.
like,
People have been saying this forever. You know, are we
right.
going to die still waiting for
Yeah,
it?
he was like in the 30s, 20s, 30s. I mean, that was a long time ago. Hello, Kitty. Extreme close up.
Hello.
Yeah. What about the whole vegan debate, fasting debate of like you got to be spiritual and enlightened, you got to eat certain things or avoid certain things. What's your take on that?
My take is I personally think, I mean, I've heard some very spiritual people have very different opinions. So,
Yeah.
um, I mean, here's my thing. If every human stopped eating animals, we still have animals that eat animals. My cat isn't going to eat a salad, and neither is my dog. So the killing of animals is not going to stop. They're
And you
still
know
killing
what? Don't
us.
they feel like they're higher energy than us anyway?
I
And
don't, I
and
don't
they eat
know.
meat. I mean, cats and dogs. I mean, they do know how to love unconditionally. They're not assholes. I mean,
They
there's
do,
some
but
demonic cats, but
still killing each other, and that they can't live off of fruits and vegetables. They
right.
just can't. So, there's that whole debate, where's my cat food and dog food gonna come from if everybody stops eating animals? So I don't really know. I have some really religious family members who think that animals were put here for us to eat. And Jesus even fed, people fish. So, I think that you just do what your body needs. I think you can tell what your body needs. If I were to stop eating animals, I think I would die. Honestly, I don't eat a lot of it, and I don't like it, and I wish that I didn't. But I just cannot eat enough of the other stuff
to compensate.
to compensate.
Yeah,
I end up
feel
not. I end up not
satiated.
eating. I end up just not eating. So
Yeah.
it's like my body just
Yeah, or you
needs
feel
a little
guilty.
bit. I feel guilty and I hate it. And I know that, the industry is torturous and horrible.
Yeah.
But I really think that I would literally die because I'm barely, I can't even gain
Surviving
weight
as it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I've lost so much weight that if I took that completely off the menu,
Yeah.
I would wither away to nothing.
Yeah. What about coffee? Do you drink coffee?
I stopped drinking coffee several years ago.
And what was the catalyst for that?
just because I know it's not really healthy. I think it's, I consider it just
Like
a
a stimulant?
another distraction. It's, one of the, socially approved drugs, like alcohol
Yeah.
is. I just decided I'm not going to play their little games.
Yeah, because why else would they be pushing Starbucks so hard? They
It's
even
full of
have
sugar.
gum with caffeine. Did you know that? Gum!
Yeah, yeah.
That's gross. Or those 5-hour energy drinks.
Those drinks.
Even
And
kids, they sell them to kids.
every time I see somebody drinking those, I just
That's so
cringe.
disgusting. It looks like poison.
It is poison. It
Yeah.
truly is poison. It is not good for you.
Yeah.
And so I just stopped because I went through a major health crisis, and
Yeah.
I started to become healthy, and that was just one of the things that
Mm-hmm.
I took off, and it wasn't hard at all for me to stop.
Wow, I'm in love with coffee. I love coffee so much.
Once you eat healthy, though, if you were to give yourself a fruit and vegetable smoothie every morning, you would not even need coffee because your body would be.
Well, it's the addiction. I think it's not kind of like people that overeat, which I have had a problem with that as well. I think it's not the thing. It's your romance with the thing. Kind of like an abusive boyfriend. Coffee's my abusive boyfriend because, oh my God, I love coffee, but lately with these Ascension symptoms, I had to give it up because I wasn't sleeping for weeks.
You can try
so I had to stop.
If you like the flavor, just try some.
Well, decaf has a bunch of shit in it too. I think it has more actually than regular coffee. It has
organic decaf coffee.
Right. Yeah, that would probably be the way to go. But I mean, I think they use formaldehyde or something to like remove the caffeine or some crap. So it's like you're screwed either way. It's like wrong. So I'm like, I'm just not going to drink it. So I've been choking down green tea. Me and tea are not friends because I don't like the flavor. My mom would give it to us when we were little, when we were sick. So I equate it with being sick. So I feel like a punishment because she'd be like, you better drink it all. and now I'm like, okay. because I'm only drinking it because I don't want to get a caffeine headache or withdrawal, So it's something. So I don't get that eye twitch, heroin addict thing going. And like crazier than I already am. To just keep me alive.
Always wean.
Yeah, so I'm weaning, but like, man, I miss it. Oh, I love it. Like it's such a ritual, and the smell and like just taste, everything. I love it.
I love the smell of coffee.
Yeah, so
you can do coffee enemas. You don't quite taste it, but it does a lot for your body.
No, but see that's like the whole point of why I stopped drinking it is because I couldn't sleep. Like the energy has been so intense, it wakes me up. And with the coffee, I'd just be up the whole freaking night, just laying there. And then mind looping about everything going on.
I hardly sleep at all. And I'm trying to stop the mind looping. I didn't realize how bad my mind looping was until I started to notice that I was mind looping. It's like, oh my gosh. It's all
I wonder if we do those like subliminal things to go to bed. I wonder if that would help. We should try that.
I have tried it. They do help because mine has cut down a lot. I can recognize it almost immediately and stop myself, but it keeps coming back. So, and then that's what they say how it works. You'll get little gaps, and then the gaps will just slowly get bigger and bigger and bigger until finally.
Geez, how long does it take though? Supposedly with all this energy coming in, we have all this help and this backup.
It really depends, I think, on just the person and your situation. Obviously, if you're in a high stress situation,
like me, yeah.
And I'm not too far behind, so if you're in a happy little place, it would probably be a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and man, sleep makes such a big difference because when I don't sleep, oh man, everything's just like that much more difficult.
Yeah. Sleep is essential for sure.
Yeah. How about those people that can just sun gaze and don't eat and don't sleep?
I'm having trouble even accepting that those people exist. So I don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, where are you? I want to meet you.
I'll have to see that to believe it.
Yeah, kind of like the event and the
Yeah,
alien invasion.
yeah, bring it. I mean, they're
Oh, that would be pretty freaking cool, actually. An alien invasion? That would be pretty awesome.
I would freaking love it. Beam me up, please.
Right? Well, that's
But
what
back,
they're saying, to use your discernment, because they're gonna either pretend to be good or they're gonna pretend to be bad.
a lot of people are saying that the alien invasion we actually see will be us, a false flag.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That they're not
yeah.
allowed. The only time they are allowed, according to a lot of the ancient things and the Corey Good stuff that I've
Mhm.
been listening to, is after an event when they come down to help. And that's what is
Mm.
all plastered inside of the Egyptian tombs and monuments, is when right after the event happened back then,
Wow.
they're allowed to come down once somebody's in crisis like that.
Okay.
And even the Hopi Indians
Yeah,
have
the Hopi
stories
prophecy.
of the ant people that came from below ground and took their people down after a catastrophe until the earth was habitable again.
Hmm.
The surface of the earth was habitable again. It's everywhere.
Yeah,
It's in every culture, on every continent,
yeah.
everywhere.
Hmm.
So I mean, these people didn't spend all of this time creating these
Right.
monuments
The
that
Aztecs, the Mayans.
that we can't even duplicate today with our own technology. We can't
Right.
even figure out how they did it. They did not do all that for no reason. They just
Right.
didn't. There's no way.
Yeah, like those pyramids in Mexico and in Peru and
They
all.
found they're lined with mica, which is what they use on the outside of the space shuttle to protect it from heat. They
Wow.
found pools of mercury under these things as if they were space ports or
Hmm.
something. And
Yeah.
they're laid out just like a circuit you would find in a computer. Like if you get an above ground view, these
Hmm.
places with the chambers look just like a circuit board you would find inside of your computer or something. It's
Hmm.
like, it's just fascinating,
Yeah.
absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
That's
That
why I love
reminds. Yeah.
aliens, because they
Oh,
present stuff so well.
yeah.
It's, you can't deny it.
Did they touch on those man-made islands in oh, what is it? You know what I'm talking about? Those man-made islands in now I can't remember the freaking place. Dubai.
I'm not sure.
If you look at
Oh,
it, you can see them from space and it looks like the flower of life. Well, like not the actual one, but they're like, I don't think those shapes are an accident. Like I don't think they did that just to do it. Like I
yeah,
think there's a reason for it. And like a lot of people in the know a lot more than they're letting us know.
yeah, I believe that for sure.
Yeah. So we will have to get together again another time because we could talk forever and ever. And so
Yes,
could
we
your
could.
cat. So we will
All
see
right.
you guys again another time. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for your time
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
your cool information. And please comment below whatever you'd like for us to talk about next, or if you have any cool experiences, please comment and we'd like to hear your stories. Bye.
Bye.